Hong Kong is one of the most expensive cities in the world. In fact, it's the fifth most expensive city in the world according to the 2021 Economic Intelligence Report, and the most expensive city in the world when it comes to rent. Land here is really scarce. In fact, only 25% of Hong Kong is inhabited, and the government has an incentive to keep the prices up. The average cost for a two-bedroom apartment here is $3,600. Despite all this, after 2 amazing months of living here in the city, I found ways to save money and to live cheaply. In this video, I'm going to show you how to live cheaply in Hong Kong if you're planning on moving here in the future or if you live here now, which is very unlikely given the quarantine situation and that everyone's leaving Hong Kong, but whatever, let's do it anyway. Okay, number 1, transportation. Getting around Hong Kong with public transport is the easiest way to save money. Fares on the MTR, the metro in Hong Kong, start around 30 cents, US cents, and are based on how far you go. But even a metro ride from Tai Po, where I live all the way north of Hong Kong, to the city center will cost around 20 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 2.5 US. That's way more affordable than, say, New York City, where the cost for a single fare, even if you're going one stop, is $2.75. The bus system is also very comprehensive in Hong Kong, and I find myself often taking the bus more so than even the metro. The cost of a fare from where I live to downtown, let's say Jordan, is only around 11 Hong Kong dollars, which is like $1.30 roughly, so it's really affordable. And for more remote parts of Hong Kong, you have these mini buses where the fare is either 8 Hong Kong dollars or sometimes 11, so $1 or $1.20. And overall, the buses are punctual, they're very nice, and it's just a nice experience. Okay, food. This is one of the trickiest things to save money on in Hong Kong, because as I said, everything's imported. So normally, the main rule, the rule of thumb when it comes to buying food is that you buy in bulk. The issue is because Hong Kong apartments are so small, there isn't really room to store these things, and there aren't a lot of stores that sell things in bulk. However, there's still ways to do things cheap here. So there are a few grocery stores here in Hong Kong, such as M&S, Park and Shop, and Welcome, and Marketplace. In my experience, Welcome is the cheapest, but while Welcome is good for general things like buying eggs, soy sauce, whatever else, cookies, I recommend other stores for non-perishables. There are a few chain stores in Hong Kong that are sort of like grocery stores, but they're like non-perishable wholesale shops. They carry a lot of Western items like pasta, granola, oatmeal, and things that you can buy in bulk. For instance, there's U Select, which is great for buying brown rice, olive oil, honey. A lot of their items come from Tesco in the UK, which is like a very cheap grocery store. Oddly enough, their banana sales are really good. Not the other stuff, just their banana sales. They have a section where they sell things that are about to expire for really good prices also. For oats and pasta, you can go to Price Mart, has really good prices. There's also DS Groceries, which is really good too. I recommend checking out all of those. If I want anything like chocolate, pasta, peanut butter, I go to DS Groceries. They have really good prices there. And also they have some foreign things like Lindor chocolates that you don't really find elsewhere in Hong Kong. At least I haven't found them. So the moral of the story is you have to go to multiple grocery stores to get different items. It's not one-stop shopping, unfortunately. Okay, now let's get to fresh produce, vegetables, fruits, meats. For this, you go to the wet markets, or just the traditional markets that typically they sell fresh meats, a lot of vegetables. Usually they're in the ground level of commercial malls. So you have the mall and then the ground level is the wet market. So that's the market and that's the mall up there. The prices are generally cheaper, produce is fresh. I go there for my eggs, my vegetables, my meats. For example, like broccoli could cost 10, 12 Hong Kong dollars in the grocery store, but if you go there, you can get it fresh for 8. Not a big difference, but it does add up. For example, I can buy a kilo of chicken breasts for 55 Hong Kong dollars, whereas in Welcome, about half a kilo, it goes for 39 Hong Kong dollars. So we're talking 78 for a kilo as opposed to 55, so that's a big difference. So the next thing is wholesale marketplaces. If you want things like detergents, toilet paper, shampoo, there are these stores that sort of do like wholesales, pharmacies almost. So they'll have like big chugs of detergent. Like I got this 3-liter tub of detergent for 55 Hong Kong dollars, and it's gonna last me like months, right? But if you get it from the store, you pay like 30 something for like a liter. So definitely cost efficient. And in general, if you live in some of the more residential parts of Hong Kong, there are these shopping areas where you can go where there's just streets or a little square that's all walking streets. There's no cars, and there's all these little shops. So there's like meat shop, there's fruits and vegetables, there's those outlets I told you about where you can buy clothing or you can buy all your pharmaceutical needs, and they're all in that kind of area. And so I live in Tai Po, which is a bit outside of Hong Kong Central, and I do have, fortunately, one of these shopping areas. So I can go there, and a lot of times you can find really cheap clothing or just whatever you need, and you can find it in a bit more bulk than you would find elsewhere. Okay, so I just got back from shopping, and check this out. I found this Solomon windbreaker, and I think it's also a rain jacket, for only like $11-12 American dollars. Check it out. This thing would probably go for like $100 easily. Now we got it for $10-11. So the thing about these stores is that usually they just have like knockoff stuff and really cheap items, like marketplaces around the world. But once in a while you find really rare, cool one-off brand items in there. Usually the story is that they are either defects or maybe they're one-off sizes, and so they get discarded and they find their way into these markets. And that's where you have to go and peruse and find these amazing deals. Okay, let's talk about eating out in Hong Kong. To put it simply, it's expensive. If you want to go even to a regular cheap restaurant, you're looking at around 50 Hong Kong dollars, 70. If you want to eat in a nice place, you're going to be spending maybe 20 to 50 US dollars. The sky's the limit. It could go up very high. And even though now it's the pandemic and things are cheaper because there's a lot of tourism, it's still quite expensive. However, there are a lot of local restaurants, local eateries around Hong Kong that serve traditional Hong Kong Southern Chinese cuisine. And you can find like dumplings for 18 Hong Kong dollars. That's about 2.5 US. Or you can find like different noodle soups for about 35 Hong Kong dollars. So we're talking about $5 US. If you want the full set, maybe 6-7. And these are generally the cheapest prices you're gonna get. Something else that I just thought of, McDonald's is actually surprisingly cheap in Hong Kong. You can get a nice Angus burger with like, 200 grams of meat or something for about 35 Hong Kong dollars. So about $5 US, a little bit less for something. And you can get the full set for only like $6 US, which is really good compared to like back home. So yeah, McDonald's is surprisingly cheap if you're craving like Western food. Alright, and the last thing I want to talk about in this vlog is activities. What is there to do in Hong Kong that's cheap? It's not going to break your wallet. So my favorite thing to do is hiking. 75% of Hong Kong is untouched nature, and a lot of that is mountainous. So there are endless hikes to do. They are very beautiful, very accessible. All of them you can go with public transportation, either metro or bus to get there. And the scenery is outstanding. Oftentimes you'll be next to the ocean, so you have the view of the water, you're doing a good hike, nice views, maybe a view of the city. All in all, it's a fantastic experience. So highly recommend that. Doesn't cost any money to hike except for spending a few dollars to get there and back. The next activity that I love to do is exploring traditional markets. Hong Kong has a lot of marketplaces, whether you're around Jordan and Mongkok or in Hong Kong Central Island, where there's an antique market. There are so many cool markets. You find really interesting stuff no matter what you're into, and a lot of times it's really cheap. You can bargain, and even if you're not going to buy, you're just there for window shopping and sightseeing. It's just a really cool, fun activity. There you go. That's the end of the vlog. That's my tips to living in Hong Kong on a budget. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for my next vlogs about Hong Kong.